Shalom, and thank you for listening. This is SK Mac. I hope you're all having a wonderful weekend. Hope it's not going by too fast. There's definitely a strange feeling in the atmosphere. Uh, a lot of people are feeling this agitation, and it's a certain irritability. Just the other day, someone happened to mention how irritated they were, and they didn't know why. So there's something in the air, and I know that we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places, the power of the air. And it's completely infiltrated with wickedness. There's been a lot of manipulation, and a lot of people don't know that the weather is actually being manipulated. We're living in some dark times. I mean, they're spraying us like a bunch of roaches, and it's serious. It's really a serious thing. And, as far as the irritability, I believe technology has a lot to do with it. I believe people are more impatient, they're on edge, jumpy, even untrusting. Indeed, this is that age. You know what I mean? Um, just recently with this storm, which is such an absurd name, uh, and it's a little tacky. Um, the storm, I think it was in Texas, April Fools, the name of this storm. I mean, really? It's just, we're coming into a time where, it's almost as if it's like the joke's on us. A few days ago, I was actually having a conversation with a nurse, and we were talking about the advances in the medical field. And, we were kind of laughing about, how the nurses of this generation have really changed drastically since, like, maybe like our mother or our mother's time. And, this particular nurse, she was pretty older than me, but I could really relate. My mother was a nurse, so I'm kind of familiar with the formality. They just had that instinct, that really raw training, something that the nurses in this generation don't really get. I think that they're a bit spoiled, whereas the nurses back in the day had to deal with some pretty messy predicaments. I mean, the nurses now, they want to pick and choose their patients. They want to talk at their post, they want to take their time, and you know, I believe that technology has made them codependent. For instance, they have this new technology, and a lot of the larger hospitals have it. It's called the Smart Vein Finder, and I'll give it to them. It's a pretty sophisticated device. It uses infrared light to detect veins. So, there's this digital image on your skin to help guide the nurse into the veins as deep as, 15 millimeters. And, but what it does is it helps the nurses determine the best point of insertion, which, I think is great until they start depending on it. And what happens when you don't have the smart vein finder? You know, you, they run into problems. I've seen many of them do. And in general, I think that, we're depending way too much on technology. And, really, this is the way that the world has evolved. We're dependent on it, really. And what I really would like to call it is it's a vice by design. Um, Technology is just really taking over, and we're seeing a real technological boom uh, with the introduction of AI into the workforce. It's really transforming livelihoods, and I don't mean it in a good way. Um, because really what it's doing is it's taking away jobs from working people. And we're seeing an influx so rapid that we can barely even keep up with it. So what do we do? What is going to be the outcome of such a vast change? If there's less jobs for people to work at because of robotics, and the use of artificial intelligence, where does that leave us? And I believe this is a very, very serious question to think about because it points us into the direction that we're really heading. Uh, they have these robot cops that will soon patrol the streets in Dubai. And it's a partnership with their city's police force. So they have the latest prototypes that were unveiled at the Gulf Information Technology exhibit. Um, so the robot patroller was able to salute, shake hands of attendees, and a touchscreen on the robot's body can be used to report crime, pay fines for traffic violations, and it can also scan faces. Scan faces. Imagine. So IBM's supercomputer Watson and Google are working together to add a virtual assistant system so that the robot can follow voice commands. Using AI technology, they hope to create robots which can spot people from 10 meters or 20 meters away, approach them, and greet them. It's all getting stranger and stranger by the day, folks. And another strange thing I've been seeing in headlines is clone food. We might as well eat Play-Doh, at the rate and direction that we're moving in. Um, Animal cloning is actually becoming a really vast commercial venture. And actually, what a lot of people don't know is that the FDA actually approved cloned meat for consumption. Eh, right. So I know what some of you are thinking. How safe could that possibly be? I don't think it's safe at all. None of it is sounds normal to me. It's just really it's just showing the direction that we're headed, and it's not good. It's not good at all. I don't know if you guys have really been paying attention to the headlines, but another really important thing to be aware of and vigilant of is really just America's decaying infrastructure, which is failing. And I think that we see massive evidence of this that was detailed devastatingly on how a fire broke out on I-85 in Atlanta on Thursday. So basically, what the official story was that they didn't know how or why the fire broke out. There were no fatalities or injuries, so that was a good thing. Um, but it was just the way that it was reported, and they were just like, we're going to make repairs on this interstate, and, it'll probably take several months. But it's just so suspicious, if you ask me. And I don't like to speculate, but something sounds pretty strange about that. They can't understand why it happened, or, you know, it's just so odd. It's just so odd. We see globally as supernatural war that's raging on the mind, in the spirit. You know, recently in Charlotte, North Carolina, on March 8th, a teen boy actually decapitated the head of his own mother, and then he called 911. And when the police arrived, he was holding a butcher knife in one hand and his mother's head in the other. The natural mind cannot wrap its head around this nor comprehend that there's something spiritually wicked going on in this world. And not only that, in DC there are like 500 girls missing, 500 black and Latina girls missing. What in the world is happening? Are they harvesting organs? Are they doing experiments? I mean, is there sex trafficking going on? I mean, there's just some very horrifying things occurring in this world, and it's getting worse and worse every day. There's violent things occurring, just more noticeably, And there's a heightened sense of awareness and of suspicion. I mean, in the UK, for example, they're having attack after attack. And it doesn't go without saying that they aren't developing and putting into play techniques to counter react what's going on. But ironically, they're actually trying to tackle nonviolent extremism. And you have to ask yourself, what is that exactly? Well, it's simply people who are committed to nonviolence. And, yet we know that people like, say, Rosa Parks or Martin Luther King, they were committed to nonviolence, and yet they were accused of being extremists in their lifetimes. So, of course, this is a very dangerous plan. And you know, when you think about it, it's like, who comes out? Who's really safe? Just who are they protecting? I mean, they're placing evil for good and good for evil, and it's really kind of an unofficial trend. Obviously, in Canada, uh, they just passed a motion to punish what is it? Islamophobic speech. Really, it's really what they did was it was a format on how to develop a whole of government approach to eliminating systematic racism and religious discrimination, including Islamophobia. So, if we recall the huge attack that happened in Quebec City as a reactive effect on the entrapment caused by Trump's travel ban a few months back with the Prime Minister of Canada, Trudeau, how he responded by allowing Muslims to come to Canada as refuge. It kind of it was like almost systematic that, this motion in Canada, which is called M103, it just caused it to kind of formulate. And the thing about it is that it wasn't really defined because, the motion actually raised concerns about religious liberties, especially given the history about, Christians, um, you know, and that was on behalf of the Ontario Human Rights Commission. For the most part, there's something deeper going on here. And looking on a much bigger angle, you can see globally that there's this craving for an all-out war on civilization. You know, Society as a whole has become really eccentric, even to the effect that people are saying ridiculous things like it should be illegal to be a stay-at-home mom. This is one of the things that was trending in the news, and they were saying that it's bad for the economy. And in a nutshell, the state should come in and basically just take those rights away, virtually controlling and taking over the rights to perhaps homeschool your child at home. Freedoms we see are gradually depleting on this road we travel, this direction that we're going in. Even to the point of, the places you go on the internet. It's going to become a lot less private. Did you know that Trump is expected to sign a bill that will allow internet companies to sell your online browsing data? And I believe it's just a bad step down a dark path, you know? So basically, what would happen is that broadband internet providers will store and sell your internet history without your consent. And, it's just too much information, too much of your personal stuff. Let me break this down to you. They're going to be taking your browsing history, your shopping habits, and even your apps and GPS history on your cell phone. And it'll all be up for sale. And there's not a whole lot that consumers can do about it. Think about this: your bank account information, your private conversations, your smart TV browsing. That's connected to the internet. I mean, ISPs are going to turn the creepiness level up to 11. Why in the world should they know every detail of a person's life? Why does Comcast or Verizon or Time Warner or whatever other company there is have to know any of this information? It's too intrusive. I mean, your phone number, your social security number, your passwords, your credit card numbers, your medical information, everything that's yours. But companies like Google, which I know a lot of you people already know this, um, and I said Facebook, they already save and sell your information, and going on again, anything you can think of. Um, they're saying that you can opt out, but currently there's no real law allowing you to opt out or giving you the ability to do so. So really, what it is that it's up to each individual company, and that's because these companies they know that your digital footprint is worth billions of dollars. It's worth billions of dollars to the marketing and ad agencies. Technology is not all bad, but a great majority of it has something hidden behind it. There's like an agenda, uh, and I think that we really should be very careful and cautious and aware and vigilant as to what's really going on. Um, I mean, we see advancements in, say, like paraplegics and those who are paralyzed, but then there's like an evilness behind the things that they're doing. I mean, they're helping, but they're really not helping. You know, we're advancing into a time where humans and computers will link together physically, and there are many concerns about this sort of transhumanism. Over the past few decades, we've become increasingly comfortable with having various devices implanted in our bodies. And, whether it helps or not, you have to realize what I've been trying to stress in this whole episode is that there's a deeper agenda behind what they're doing. And, there's ideas even to implant our brains with computer chips. And for many people, like I said, it's a sci-fi step too far. It definitely, I agree with that, you know. And, we think we're becoming more powerful, more advanced to the point where some are even saying they don't need the Most High anymore, the creator of the universe, but they need technology. It's become their God, so to speak. They become as gods. You know, we're heading in such a dangerous direction, and many are still asleep, you know, or asleep in a world of giants. Whether you're a believer or not, you can sense something is underway, something that maybe you can't quite describe. And, those with spiritual eyes and spiritual ears know that this, we just know what this feeling is. And if you look at the events occurring in this world, realistically, we can see certain trends developing. What or what not to plan for, and if there is a future for this nation.